Welcome back to the Red Dice Diaries, and this video is the first of a three-part playlist which covers the 3 stages of a game. Now, like most things in life, games and campaigns have 3 broad stages: a beginning, a middle, and an end. And in this 3-video playlist, I'm going to give some hints and tips on running a game at each of these 3 stages. This video deals with stage 1, the beginning of a game. Now, I'm not going to go into details about campaign and world creation. There's already lots of other great videos out there on the internet about that very subject, and I may get around to doing some myself in future. At the start of your game, players are normally very enthusiastic. There's that whole new game feel to it, and it's the GM's job at this stage to really sell your setting and use this enthusiasm that the players have and that you have as a boost to kickstart your game. I find that one of the best ways to do this is to start off your player characters in a dramatic situation, perhaps even in the middle of a combat, and then just fill in the details around that as it unfolds. It's tempting at the start, especially when you spent a lot of time on your campaign world creation, to have a long sequence of exposition where you hand down the knowledge of the world and the world details to your player characters. Resist the urge to do this. There's nothing worse as a player than coming to a new game fresh-faced and eager, ready to jump in, ready to engage in all manner of dramatic adventure, and then just having to sit there doing nothing while someone talks at you with a lot of details that you've probably glazed over and you won't even remember. You do want to sell your setting as a GM, however, try and thread small amounts of details in bite-sized chunks through in these more dramatic scenes. You'll be surprised that because the player characters are engaged and they're more drawn into the scenes, how much of this information they actually retain. And a few well-placed little chunks here and there of information can be far more valuable than 6 pages of exposition that the player characters don't remember any of. If you do want the player characters to have access to a lot of world information, what I'd suggest you do is you create a campaign handout which you give to the players before the game begins. This then gives them time to read this information at their leisure, and it preserves the actual session time for the main business of getting on with the dramatic fiction of the game and getting the player characters engaged and excited to be playing, rather than just sitting there listening to you read stuff out. Now, even though it's the beginning of the game, you should already start to give some thoughts as to how you're going to move on to your end game eventually and what your player character's goals are. Having this in the back of your mind, even if you don't get anything concrete down at this stage, will save you an awful lot of work and potential backpedaling in the future. Speaking of the future, one thing you should also do is throw in a few plot threads that have no immediate resolution, but that you can use in the future. Give your setting room to expand and incorporate the player's ideas. I find there's few things more enjoyable as a player when you see an idea that you've had and that you've mentioned around the table get incorporated into the setting. It really makes you feel that you're invested and you're involved in the future of that campaign setting. So, my list of things to bear in mind, my list of hints and tips at this starting stage of your game would be: number 1, start your players in a dramatic scene. Number 2, resist the urge to use large sections of exposition. Number 3, sell your setting through details and excited scenes. 4, identify character goals and endgame conditions now. 5, leave some blank space and hanging plot threads. And 6, most importantly of all, listen to what your players say during this initial stage. This is a time when you want to start picking up on the things that they like about the start of your game and the things which they maybe weren't so keen on. And then in the middle section of the stage, which I'll be discussing later on in my next video, you can keep the bits that they like and you can get rid of the bits that maybe aren't going down so well, and you can fine-tune your game. So there's a few hints and tips on running the starting section of a game. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and that if you have, you'll consider clicking on like and subscribe down below. If you have any comments on the starting part of a game or anything I've said in this video, please leave your comments and suggestions in the boxes below. And until I see you on the next video, I look forward to reading what you write. Thanks very much for watching. Please keep an eye out for the next video in this series, which will be dealing with Stage 2, the often difficult middle part of a game.